This is the People's Water Board Coalition Water Wednesday webcast for February 22nd, 2023.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back again, beloved community, with yet another installment of the People's Water Board Water Wednesdays webcast. And today we have the pleasure of having back a very special guest that we had on our show, a hometown boy that came on to tell his story about his issues with water insecurity. He bared his soul to us, and now he's back, and we're so happy to have him back because he has a victorious win to inform us of. So I'll turn over to Valerie Jean because it's a short show, and we'll jump right into it.
Welcome, Jermain. We are just so thrilled to have you back on the show. And we get to share this courageous, tenacious story of yours and tell and share it with other folks so that they know how they can fight and win too, and that they're not alone in their fight. So welcome, Jermain.
It's a pleasure to be on the show today. I appreciate Valerie Jean. I appreciate Nicole, as well as the People's Water Board Coalition, for inviting me for this opportunity to have a deep discussion about my experience and what I've overcome with the water department, the City of Detroit's water department, sewage and water department. So go ahead and answer away.
Okay. I want to be, we had you on last month. And so folks, we're going to put that video down in the comment section so that you can, go and hear the whole story, like every nook and cranny of the story. But can you briefly just tell us, just so our listeners know, just what you went through, and how we kind of got here to this moment, just what happened to your family?
Well, it started off where I purchased a land bank house from the City of Detroit a couple years ago, and upon my experience with the land bank and the water department, it was a very catastrophic situation with them. First, I bought the house, and then it went from buying a house to a flooded house with sewage bagged up into it, no water line. No information on that was given to me at the time when I purchased the house from the land bank. Neither did the water department have clear records on whether this house had a sewer lateral connected or a water line even connected. And upon my discovery, once I finally got the water out of the house, I found that there was an actual lead line. So there was a lead line coming into the basement, cut in the yard. It was just real disappointing to get this, to hear this kind of situation happen to me as a citizen of Detroit. It was just a struggle. I had to file police reports. I've been to several board meetings, fighting to let them know that I need water. This house didn't have water for 3 years. It was just real bad. So,
and it was missing the whole line that hooked up to the main, right? Like it had been cut. The whole line that hooks up to the main water infrastructure had been cut.
This house was on the demolition list. I want to make it clear that when the City of Detroit deems that a house is not rehabable, or it cannot, it has foundation problems, or any of those situations where it may be a danger, or it can be a safety concern for the City of Detroit, they would not allow the house to be put in the City of Detroit's auction or the land bank's auction. But unfortunately, someone at the higher level, an inspector from building and safety engineering downtown Detroit, deemed that this house was not or shouldn't be on the demolition list. They removed it off the demolition list, and the land bank put it inside one of its public auctions. And I happen to experience this property with all inheriting all the issues, all the flaws, all the type of issues that come along with it, the back taxes, the water bills, all of that. So, and my family experienced it as well. They know that I was emotionally distressed from this situation. My mother was crying. She talked to one of the commissioners, Jan Garcia. Commissioner Garcia had conversations with her about this situation, and it was just terrible experience.
Yeah.
And I just I can't believe that Gary Brown will allow him to put a customer of the water department through this type of situation where he has the power to rectify the situation.
Right.
He has the
To fix
power
it.
to say, you know, we're going to get Mr. Payne's water. But no, Gary Brown put up a fight all the way until recently, about a month ago, he decided that he's going to give in and allow a water line to be put in.
Mm.
What-
That's what go ahead.
What do you think was, you know, instrumental in getting him to change the decision? What do you think you did versus maybe what another customer did that made him say, look, let's just do it?
It's more about the people having the power. And people have to understand that as long as you have courage in yourself and believe in yourself, other people will believe in you as well. And a lot of that support was come forward. Like the water departments are afraid when you have support. They do not like when other people speak on your behalf. There was a lot of people in my corner behind the scenes. The People's Water Board Coalition was behind me, behind the scenes, specifically pertaining to Valerie Jean, Nicole. You guys really are awesome. You guys were fighting behind the scenes. You guys were pushing other people to fight. Mike Shane, I give him a round of applause because Mike Shane did wonders at the last war, but he actually made a poster board and showed that the water line was told to me that it was never cut, and it was cut. And they had advertised that on the land bank's website that water not cut. So it was a fight. It was a hell of a fight. And people need to know, as long as you got courage in yourself and you believe in yourself, others will come forward and believe in you as well and support you. And that's what the water department is afraid of. When people rise, we rise. So they're afraid that when people rise, it's a different battle for them. And I think that's what scared Gary. He seen that I had an enormous support circle, and I had a lot of support behind me for this water line. He just gave in, I think.
Now Jermaine's not going to tell you that Jermaine is tenacious, and he was determined, and he was not going to give up. He was in their face every time they had a meeting. Every single time they had a meeting, Jermaine was not about to let his family sit without water for any longer. He was determined. I know that he did have a lot of support, but Jermaine, this win really does belong to you. Your tenacious, determined spirit, and the fact that you had to take care of your family, and you couldn't without water. And it was just such a huge injustice. So I want our listeners to know that yes, he had support, but he's a badass and extremely tenacious and determined.
Yeah, he inspired all of us, because a lot of people don't have the tenacity to get out, because it's a hard thing to do when doors are constantly getting slammed in your face. And he just continued to be like, well, if you're not going to open it, I'll just kick it through, you know.
Yeah.
So Jermaine, yes, you are awesome.
Yeah, this win really does belong to you and your family. And we're just so grateful to be able to share it with our listeners, because I know that other people are going through this. And I know that getting the lead service line, once it's been cut, is damn near impossible to do. Like plumbers don't want to touch it. It's just damn near impossible to do. And it costs so much that the people who own the house can't do it. It really is something that the water department has to do. It is. It's part of the infrastructure to hook it up back to the main. So just, Jermaine, tell us not only what you did, but what you learned along the way. Like, talk about the meetings that you attended and what you said to them, and then the resources and stuff that you gathered along the way that could really, really help people.
So what my understanding is the water department got a lot of ARPA dollars, CARES money that came flying through this city and over the last 2 years. The water department has receiving a lot of federal dollars and state dollars, not including the public rates water funding that they get from all the customers in the city of Drew that pays their water bills on time. But they have a lot of money that came through here that is specifically dedicated to water line replacements. Anyone who has a service line in the city of Detroit, that is either a galvanized line or a lead line, it has been told by the state and the federal level that those lines need to be removed because they are contaminating and poisoning our children. They are
Yes.
poisoning our families. And I spoke on this at a lot of the board meetings because they know that I have two children that I take care of who are under the age of 10 years old. One of them is my nephew, Alexander, and the other one is Anna Marie. She's about 7 years old. So I take care of my niece and nephew like they're my own children. And unfortunately, my daughter doesn't stay here. She lives in Georgia, but I have a nice big family, and I really cherish my family. So when I go to those board meetings, I speak highly of my family, and I let those board members know, if you were in my situation, would you want your family to experience this catastrophic situation? Would you want them to be hindered or emotional distress about simply having a right to water? And
That's
they
right.
will just be silent at the water board meetings. I mean, Ms. Garcia, Commissioner Garcia would speak up. Commissioner Kenlock, John Kenlock, Jonathan Kenlock would speak up. But other than the board members, they would sit there muted. Gary Brown, he tried to speak to me on this occasion, on several occasions, about this water line that they're working on it. But you got to understand, this is a problem that's been going on for decades, and the infrastructure in the city of Detroit needs to be, revamped,
It does.
re-updated, and there needs to be a lot of upgrades to the infrastructure. But let alone a lot of the meetings I went there, and I just kept my fight up. I let them know how I'm trying to fix my house. I'm trying to take care of my family in this house. And I purchased this land bank house. It was my first home. I did not know the flaws to how the process worked when it comes to the water department, putting a water line in. And they know that, but they tried to charge me, and they wanted me to hire my own plumbers to pay $10,000 to $15,000. Who has that kind of money? No one has $15,000 to just take out their account. And I mean, I'm not that unfortunate. I'm not fortunate to have that kind of money sitting around. But for me to take care of my family and then turn around and give away $15,000 like it was nothing, it was just it was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah. No, I think that people too don't understand when you live with water infrastructure and with water insecurity like that, and you can't take care of your family, that kind of stress moves into your body, and you deal with it it's the trauma of it all. You deal with it for years to come. I think that people don't understand when that kind of trauma is nothing that goes away even once the water is turned back on. It's something that, yes, you learned a lot and you're going to be able to share that information with people, but the stress and trauma is it's not something that you just move on from.
You end up with PTSD.
Mm-hmm. You do.
I'm gonna just say that there was a lot of sleepless nights that I had, and a lot of things where I was thinking. I even talked to Alice Jennings, the attorney for the ACLU. And I had long, deep conversations with Alice Jennings about this. She told me, Mr. Paynes, don't give up. I'm behind you. We're going to work on this. We're going to get you water this year, Mr. Paynes. And so I appreciate Alice Jennings. I appreciate Mike Shane. Me and Mike Shane had several calls. So the moratorium now, Mike Shane's Moratorium Coalition, I think he did an awesome job. I appreciate him and his support. But the water department tried to have me go through some resources through Wayne Metro. Let me tell you something. Wayne Metro has a backlog. They cannot keep up with the volume of calls coming in and the amount of applications that are on their books. They have a severe problem right now. And for the water department to use them and tell people or their customers to go through them for everything, it's like an illusion. It's like an illusion of, you're sending people with false hope. You're sending people to a place where they don't have no sense of security. And that's what they tried to do to me. They tried to tell me to go to Wayne Metro to get any resources. No, that's not how it works. You have to do some of this work on, the water department has to take some accountability and responsibility. And the organization of the water department is very disorganized. I'm gonna tell you that now. A lot of the people at the water department don't have a clue of what's going on, because with the management and the leadership there, they are not on the same page. They don't communicate. Everyone is on their own agenda, and everyone is only looking out for the people that know someone in the water department. And it should not operate like that. We are citizens of Detroit. We deserve water, affordable water to the citizens of Detroit. And the affordability plan is not everybody's plan, because I clearly have 2 nieces. I have clearly 2 children in my home, and it clearly showed that 3 people is more than 3 people that live in my household. So that water affordability plan is not affordability. It's not a true affordability plan. I want people to know that a true affordability plan is a covering of your whole family and a household. And that affordability plan does not cover the whole household. So
that's why we call the Lifeline plan the rationing plan. Really, I mean, they're rationing water to people, and their numbers are wonky. They're wrong. There's no way that 4,500 gallons is going to cover a family of 3, even. Let alone most families or most households have more than 1 family living in it. So like it doesn't. That's why we call it a water rationing plan. You are 100% right there. Like the stuff, it doesn't. The math even doesn't.
I'm not a math engineer, but I'm a mechanical engineer, and mathematically and intelligently, I cannot put those numbers together, and they're not possibly accurate. It's a hoax. I call it affordability hoax, because the plan is basically an illusion of what they believe that the plan would fit for their needs. Like some of them people at the water department only have 2 people in their household.
Right.
But you're not covering your families. You're covering people that is in a poor neighborhood who are living in poverty. And the poverty line in Detroit is way lower than what they have statistically shown us.
Yeah, and the average family makes like 20,000. Average family makes like 20,000.
Yeah. And that's not even accounting into the fact that this city and even our infrastructure was built to handle 1 million plus people, plus the surrounding areas. And now there's almost half of that in the city of Detroit.
Yeah, a little over 6.
Last time I checked, there's roughly around like 670,000 people in the city of Detroit. But we still have this infrastructure that requires money to operate that's built for 1 million people.
That's why it has to be updated. That's what Jermain was saying, right? It's got to be updated. They have to put money, and they got the money right now. They got the money. They got like all kinds of money.
They just got 100. The water department just received in October of 22, and this is and people can do their research. The water department received $100 million from the federal government to replace lead lines in the city of Detroit. However, in the city of Detroit water department, they tell you that it's going to take them 20 to 30 years to replace those lead. Now, it cannot. Lies. It don't have to be like that. But that's just how they want to try to drag this out. But they don't understand that you're not just poisoning kids and families in these homes. You're poisoning them in schools, where you have schools where they have lead lines still connected to those buildings.
Yeah, those places should be first on the list. But they said that when we first started going to Benton Harbor, that was going to take like 20 years or whatever, and they started replacing the pipes and got most of them replaced in a couple years. You just have to you have to do it. You have to have the will to do it. And when they start saying 25 years, that means they're going to start spending the flipping money before it actually starts going into what it's supposed to get into.
Considering that they did the majority of the pipe replacement in Benton Harbor in less than 18 months.
Yeah.
And we have significantly more resources than Benton Harbor does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, we do. We have a bigger, and Benton Harbor is not as big as Detroit.
No, it's not.
Detroit is one of the biggest cities in the country, you know, third biggest city in the
Also,
country. So
more
you got to understand that mathematically looking at that 100 million plus the CARES money and the city of Detroit's money that came through ARPA dollars, they have plenty of money to start on this projects and hire the appropriate contractors to come in here and push for this project to happen. Now they want to drag their feet and hope that people don't complain about their landlines in their basements. And that's what we need. We need people like me to come more to the water departments and let people know their concerns, because the water department doesn't advertise those meetings as they should, so that they can get public comment and get more things on the agenda. I've said in most of those board meetings, and a lot of the things that they have on the agendas are contracts and things that they want to put on the agenda. It's not what the city of Detroit needs. It's what those board members or what Gary Brown feels or deems that is important that he should upgrade or do things. And that's not fair. That's not fair at all.
No, it's not. And it's not helping communities at all. As a matter of fact, it's really stressful and it's harming them. The longer they wait to replace the freaking pipes, the longer people are getting poisoned, the longer their homes are contaminated. So it just, you know, it's irreparable harm too. It's not anything that once you have lead in your body, not only do you carry it for the rest of your life in your bones and all of these things, but you put it, when you have children, you share it with your children, right? Like
the mental health issues that it causes from leaching into children's brains and adults' brains, it causes significant harm in that manner as well. And it's ironic because it had to be at least 5 years, if not more, because Mama Lila was still alive, where we met with Gary Brown when he first had become the director, and with Mayor Duggan. And the question I posed to him was, you're saying it's lead in our schools, and every school sits right in the middle of a neighborhood. So wouldn't the surrounding neighborhood residential homes have lead in? And his answer was, no, it wasn't.
No.
That's not true.
You know, it's not true because everything's connected. Give me a break.
Exactly.
Give me a break.
I do want to touch on the on Valerie Dream's last question on what she brought to mind. Yeah. So I want to talk on the resources real quick because I know we're getting ready to run out of time. One of the main resources in the city of Detroit that people should know about is the ombudsman. Bruce Simpson is an awesome guy. I met him personally. He came to my house actually and did a walkthrough. He wanted to see my house and see how much progress I made. He was very impressed at all the progress I was making on the home. And he was one of my also big supports behind the closed doors. He had meetings with Gary Brown. He had meetings with Tammy Daniels, the executive director of the Land Bank. He had meetings with other people in the resource groups that he uses. And he had long talks with Commissioner Jan Garcia from the Water Department. So your biggest support right now for the city of Detroit is reaching out to the ombudsman. Bruce Simpson is an awesome guy, and he is the guy that you need to go through when you have problems with any government entity in the city of Detroit. So people who are struggling to get water turned on, who has a service line need to be replaced that is lead, I would encourage people to go down to the city of Detroit municipality building where the mayor's office is and the city council is, and go down there and set an appointment with an ombudsman to speak to him or speak to one of his reps in his office. Another resource is looking at the People's Water Board Coalition, looking at the Moratorium Now Coalition, and all these coalitions around the city of Detroit have some type of hands in this water affordability issues. They had their hands in a lead line replacement. So you want to use your community organizations. You want to use your city resources downtown. And you want people to hear your story. So you want to go to those board meetings because they're open to the public. They give you 2 to 3 minutes to speak on your specific issue. And the more people that hear your story, the more people bag you up, the more that the water department will turn to you and look at your issue and try to resolve it.
Yeah, it's going to take, you got to fight for it and you got to show up with your community.
It's a shame tactic you have to use. You have to literally irritate and shame them into doing what they're supposed to do anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just appreciate everything that the water department is giving me at this time. I have a brand new copper line from the main all the way into my home now. I'm so happy for that. I don't have to drink lead anymore. I also have I'm making more progress on my land bank home so that they don't take it from me. I'm able to install other entities in the home to contribute to my new home that I welcome my family into. And it's just been an awesome last couple of weeks. I'm very excited about things that are happening for myself. I appreciate the People's Water Board Coalition so much. You guys are awesome. You guys are stood behind me and all the fights. I just thank y'all so much. I really do.
We thank you, Jermaine. We
Yes,
thank you. You give us hope. It's people like you that give us hope, that give other people hope and give them the tools that they need to fight back and win. And thank you for your tenacious spirit. We appreciate you.
I do want to give a big shout out to Mike Shane and Jan Garcia,
Absolutely.
Commissioner Garcia.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out a little bit to the D'Amico Williams from Hydro Detroit a little bit because he did make he did write a letter on my behalf to one of the council members. So a lot of other resources that I can't mention, I don't want to speak on because it just would go on and on. But I do want to appreciate everyone that stood be on my side and let them know that you not alone, and the people has the power. And as long as you stand for yourself and you speak on yourself, you speak up for yourself, people will come forward and speak on your behalf and support you against the fight against the water department, because that is our water department. That is our water, and it's not fair that that the water department deems that it's not a human right to have water, which it is.
Right.
And the United Nations deemed that it is a right to water. Water is a right. It's not a must. It's not a want. It's not a need. It's it is a right to everyone in America should have water in their homes, and they should be able to have water at affordable price.
That's right. Well, that's a perfect way to end. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take
Thank
care.
you. You
and
said
I
it
love
all.
you guys. God bless
We
you
really,
guys.
really appreciate you. To all of our listeners, we're going to put Jermaine's first video in the comment section so that you can listen to his story to its entirety. And, take care of each other. It's been a hard week for us over here at the People's Water Board. We had a dear friend pass, and look out for each other. Call your family members, call your friends. When you see somebody struggling, if you can help, please help them. And try to stay afloat, my friends. Bye.